It was my day off from McDonald's, so I thought I would just watch a movie on Netflix. The movie was finished, so I flipped the channel to BBC 24 and came across some disturbing news about some guy who believes he was the reincarnation of the 70s cult leader Jim Jones. In a pre-recorded interview, he said all new members were to donate someone they love as a sacrifice if they want to travel to Jonestown and live in paradise. My manager phoned me. She asked me if I could cover a shift urgently. I asked her what happened. She said James had an accident, he was scraping the grill and some hot oil jumped into his face. So we took him to the urgent care center at the guy's hospital. He's now temporarily blinded. I was mopping the floor when I saw Gwendolyn enter the dining area. Gwendolyn was my work colleague and I had a huge crush on her. Every day I thought about the both of us on a romantic holiday. I even had some crazy fantasy that we got swept away on some deserted island. There was just one problem. James was her boyfriend. She went into the staff canteen and I followed her because I wanted to comfort her. She was worried about James and wondered if his face would be disfigured permanently. She was now vulnerable, so I took advantage of the situation. I embraced her and kissed the top of her head affectionately. I told her how sorry I am and I'll be there for her. My thoughtful words had put an ears-to-ears smile across her face. We looked into each other's eyes and I kissed her on the lips. She reminded me that James was still her boyfriend. I let her go quickly and apology. I was worried that she would report me for sexual harassment and James would find out. Instead, she smiled and said she was okay with it. So we planned to have a secret date and spend time at her place. A colleague ran to the canteen and told us they're having issues with a rude customer. We went to the dining area and saw some old guy complaining about the cashier. I asked him what's the problem. He said, "Hey man, I asked that tart to give me new French fries because these ones are cold and she refused. So I gave him free French fries to stop the argument." I saw 3 men wearing long red gowns standing outside the McDonald's. They looked like the cults I saw on the news. They were just standing there and staring at us. They turned around and walked away like they were robots. Weeks later, I was at Gwendolyn's apartment, we chatted and had a few drinks. She suggested that we go for a night walk in the park. I asked her, who would go for a stroll at this time of the night? Why not just stay here? She said, come on, it would be romantic. So I gave in to her demand and we both went for a walk. As we walked through the dense woods, I saw 2 of those cults dipped beneath the bushes. I told Gwendolyn that I've seen 2 of those cults. As I turned to her, she sprayed some substance in my eyes and I fell to the ground. Someone threw a blanket over me and repeatedly struck me on the head until I passed out. I woke up and found myself tied to a cross. I was surrounded by a bunch of cults. I was inside a temple that had candles lit everywhere. I saw Gwendolyn looking at me. She had the most sinister smile on her face. I asked her why she's a part of this evil cult. What she said was unbelievable. She told me they're her family and the new Jim Jones was her Lord and Savior. She said she must do as he says if she wanted to go to Jonestown and live in paradise. She told me that she wanted to donate James as a sacrifice, but he had an accident, so she decided to donate me instead. So that's why I saw them at the McDonald's the other night. They wanted to know if Gwendolyn kept her promise. I begged Gwendolyn not to do this. I told her that they've brainwashed her.
You're right, they've brainwashed me. They washed the garbage I was thought from out of my brains. Jim Jones texted me from Guyana and said I'll sit on the right side of his throne.
An old guy who was supposedly the executioner held a knife over his head. He was about to stab me in my chest. He stopped and looked at me. He dropped the knife to his side. He refused to carry out the execution because I gave him free French fries at the McDonald's. Now that made the other cult members angry. Another member tried to grab the knife from the executioner. A fight broke out, which caused them to knock some of the candles to the ground. The temple went up in flame and everyone ran to the exit door. I told the executioner that if he unties me, I won't report him to the police. He untied me and we ran out of the burning temple. Gwendolyn ran to the exit door, but she fell and sprained her ankle. She cried for help, but the frantic members ignored her as they ran to the exit door. I heard Gwendolyn crying for help, so I ran back into the burning building to look for her. I picked her up and ran out of the building. Later that night, the fire brigade put out the fire and the police arrested some of the cult members. Gwendolyn is no longer a cult member. I told her she don't have to join a cult to live a prosperous life. You can live a prosperous life right here, right now. Life is what you make of it. She and I are now dating and we still work at the McDonald's. Oh, did I mention Gwendolyn's ex-boyfriend James? He's still at Guy's hospital. I'm not sure what they've done to him, but he looks disturbing. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and share.